Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Moonlight. I am back, finally, with another IDA video. This week I'm going to be covering week 11 of the IDA. I know I'm skipping over week 10, and I haven't done weeks 7 and 8 yet. I am trying to work on those. The recording program that I've been using has been very, very shaky. These past couple of weeks, my computer's been having issues, so I'll try to get those videos out as soon as I can, but I have a busy weekend ahead of me, and I don't have much time this week to do anything, so it looks like you're going to have to keep waiting on those, but I will be able to get out this video tonight. So, this week week 11, we took on British Gent and his Belper Beedrills. He drafted a disgusting rain core, absolutely disgusting. So he has Kyogre, Ferrothorn, Slurpuff, Tornadus, Hitmonlee, Musharna, Ground DMZ, Mega Metagross, Zygarde 50%, Ludicolo, Delphox, Regirock. Don't know how he managed to get the two Ubers in Kyogre and Zygarde 50%. And this man managed to draft Metagross, so that is terrifying. He also has great offensive pressures in Tornadus, Hitmonlee, Delphox, and Ludicolo in the rain, in addition to his 3 Ubers Mons. So, this is a really intimidating match. He just recently picked up Musharna as of the match. So, his defensive core is mostly Regirock, Ferrothorn, and Musharna. Forgot to mention Slurpuff. That thing after a belly drum is disgusting and annoying to deal with. So the team I definitely saw him bringing the Rain Core in Kyogre, Tornadus, and then either Ludicolo or Ferrothorn. Definitely saw Zygarde and Mega Metagross coming, and then from there I could see Regirock coming as like a defensive switch. I could see Slurpuff coming, I could see Hitmonlee coming. It was really up to debate. So, this is the team that I went ahead with. So, starting off, we have Sub-Zero, the Kyurem Black. He's been proving very lackluster so far this season. I've been using him very poorly. But this match, I was hoping to do something different. Expert Belt with Substitute, Ice Beam, Fusion Bolt, Earth Power, Max Attack, 40 Special Attack EVs, and then 216 Speed EVs with the Naive Nature. Now, the reason for that exact Speed EV is to speed creep Max Speed Jolly Kyogre, Max Speed Timid Kyogre, sorry. You never run a physical Kyogre, but alright. And so that let me put more EVs into Special Attack for Earth Power and Ice Beam. So this thing just does a good job. Like, behind a substitute, this thing tears through his team. If I get behind a sub with this thing, he has 0 switch-ins. Like, he has absolutely nothing that wants to switch in and take at least one hit. Because Fusion Bolt does 50% to Kyogre, it dents Musharna, it OHKOs Tornadus, Earth Power dents Ferrothorn, so does Ice Beam. Slurpuff is dented by any of these 3 moves. Regirock is destroyed by Earth Power, Zygarde obliterated by Ice Beam, Delphox obliterated by Earth Power. He just has no real switch-ins to this thing offensively. So it just seemed like a no-brainer, and then the Expert Belt just adding some more damage. Next, we have Florges, Leftovers, Wish Protect, Toxic Moonblast, Max HP, almost max special defense with some defense EVs, and that's mostly to take physical hits better, but this primarily is my check to Kyogre. Well, not really Kyogre, I have a check, which you'll see later on, but this is primarily my check to Tornadus, Ludicolo, and Delphox. But if he did bring Delphox, I could see like a bulkier variant like AV or like the sub-toxic Protect set. or possibly Scarf, depending on what other mons he was bringing. But I didn't really see Scarf's coming. So, anyways, this is my main special wall and my main special check to his team. Pretty standard Florges. I have nothing much else to say about it. Next we have Mascot the Dust Noir, who I traded for in that big trade where I got Poliwrath and Genesect as well. So I'm bringing max HP, max defense, Impish with 4 special defense EVs. This is my primary Zygarde and Mega Metagross switch in. It's also my main Slurpuff. It's the closest thing I have to a Slurpuff check once it's at +6. So it's there as well. And it just does a good job. Pain Split, Shadow Sneak, Ice Punch, Earthquake, Dense Mega Metagross, Ice Punch, Dense Zygarde, Shadow Sneak for priority, and Pain Split for HP recovery to go with leftovers. And then Frisk, because why would you run any other ability on this thing? So, yeah. Next, we are bringing Bugs, the Scarfed Diggersby. Huge Power, Earthquake, Return, Quick Attack, Ice Punch. Standard set with Jolly, max attack, max speed. This thing dents his team. Nothing wants to switch into an Earthquake or Return. Zygarde is obliterated by an Ice Punch. Like, once any mon on his team that is, like, below 20% barred, like, a really, really ridiculously defensive Regirock and Ferrothorn, just gets obliterated by Quick Attack. So anything besides those two, under 20% is obliterated by a Quick Attack. And Diggersby just puts in a bunch of work versus his team. Because if say I manage to get a free switch in with this thing on like Mega Metagross, I can just pretty freely Earthquake there. And he doesn't have much in the way of switch-ins to that outside of his Tornadus. And even then, you would never bring Tornadus in on Diggersby, mostly because Return destroys it. Next, we have my actual main Kyogre switch-in, Poliwrath Glutes. I'm bringing max defense as well because especially offensive Kyogre doesn't really dent this thing. Doesn't really do much to it, even a physically defensive variant. So this is serving as a secondary check to Mega Metagross or Zygarde 50% in case Dusknoir goes down early. So I'm packing Toxic, Ice Punch, Waterfall, Brick Break. So Ice Punch is there to prevent Zygarde from, say, getting a substitute up for free. Waterfall is there for Stab versus Delphox, and then Brick Break is there for, like, Ferrothorn and, I think it was it's just there for Ferrothorn and maybe Mega Metagross, can't remember. But it's a pretty good mod. It does a good chunk to a lot of his Pokemon. So it's pretty good. And finally we have my ideal late game sweeper, that being Mega Gallade. Bulk Up, Close Combat, Psycho Cut, Knockoff. I did not really need Sword Stance for this match, mostly because Bulk Up, mostly because at +2, even at +1, I obliterate his team. He has no real switch-ins to this exact set. And at +1, I can tank any hit from Zygarde, any hit from Mega Metagross. Like, if Tornadus is gone, and Slurpuff is not at +6, at +1 attack and defense, nothing on his team OHKOs or does more than 60% to Mega Gallade. It's that simple. So, now that you've seen the team, we're going to go right on into it. So, to my surprise, he does not bring the Rain Core, which is a big relief to me. Also means that Poliwrath is not as useful as he would be. So instead he brings the Musharna, the Hitmonlee, and the Delphox instead of the Rain Core of like Tornadus, Kyogre, and then something like Ludicolo or Regirock, Not really Regirock. That thing isn't very viable in the match, in this exact match, because I have way too many checks to it. But something like Kyogre, Ludicolo, and then Slurpuff. So, it's interesting. Like, based off of this team composition, I pretty much can tell what each of his sets are going to be. Obviously, Mega Metagross, probably an agility variant, because he has a tendency to bring that a lot. Hitmonlee, like the past 4 weeks, he's been bringing the same Hitmonlee set, that being Endure, Lychee Berry with Burden. Ferrothorn and Musharna probably going to be defensive walls, and then the Tailfox and the Zygarde are pretty much up in the air, but I'm thinking the Zygarde is either like a sub-coil or a D-Dance 3 attack set with the Groundium Z. So I didn't mention this before, but this is a very important match for playoffs, because currently there are 4 teams. Because as of this match being played, there were 4 teams that were in contention for the playoffs. Myself, British Gent, the Houston Heracross, who we already played, and the Venomville Vileplumes, who we've already played. And so this is a big match, because if I beat him, then that shoots me right up back into the playoff race. Well, I'm already in the playoff race, but it shoots me higher up into the playoff race, and actually gives me a much better shot to make it in, because top 7 make it in, and only 2 of the 4 of us who are currently actually racing will be able to get in. So, with this match, I didn't really care what he led off with, because Poliwrath was just a good check to everything, even Ferrothorn, which is kind of surprising, but a Power Whip from Ferrothorn does not do all that much, so I know that, well, Power Whip from Ferrothorn, it does like 50%, but Poliwrath with Brick Break brings it down to 60%, so I do lead with Poliwrath, and he leads with Ferrothorn, so I just go for a Brick Break here, does a good chunk to him, as he just goes for Toxic. I don't really care, this thing is really expendable, so I go for another Brick Break here, and I almost kill it with the crit. I think it was a roll with the crit, so he gets up his rocks, which is kind of annoying for Kyurem, but I can deal with it. So he goes for the Protect, just to get some more toxic damage. So I believe he switches out into his Musharna here as I go for another Brick Break. Doesn't really do much to it. And so I don't really know how Musharna works, so I switch out into Florges as he goes for a Toxic, which was a good play on his end. So here I believe I go for a Toxic myself, but I miss it, which doesn't matter because he goes Mega Metagross. So I just go into Poliwrath here, pretty much sacking it off. As he goes for Iron Head, which I was surprised he was packing Iron Head rather than Meteor Mash, because Meteor Mash did more damage and it has the chance to raise his attack by 1. But I can understand him wanting to be able to hit the Steel type move every single time, not have to risk the 15% chance of missing. So at this point, Poliwrath is completely useless. But he does switch out into Musharna. As I just go for Waterfall. Just get a good chunk out of it. And I just go for Toxic here. Of course, I end up missing the Toxic, which is annoying, as he gets up his Psychic Terrain and Poliwrath goes down. So he brings in Mega Metagross as I go for a Wish, and I just bring in Dusknoir, and he can't do anything about it. Because, as you are going to see, Wish brings me right back up to max HP, and this is the strategy I was really going with, defensively, because whenever I bring in Florges, I know he's going to bring in Mega Metagross to counter it, so that's why I go for Wish, and then I can just bring in Dusknoir, because Mega Metagross can't hit Dusknoir hard enough to the point where Wish does not bring it back up to max HP. So he just goes Musharna here as I go for an Earthquake. Doesn't do much, and we're kind of left in this cycle. As he goes for Toxic, doesn't work. I go for Wish, he goes for Shadow Ball, and I get off a Toxic on the Musharna, which is nice. As he goes for Psychic Terrain, he goes Mega Metagross, I go for another Wish. Back into Dusknoir. And like I said, we're just stuck in this cycle. He goes into Musharna, I EQ, I bring in Florges, he goes to Mega Metagross, I go for the Wish, and here he pulls the double into Zygarde, which I thought was pretty smart, but I just stayed here in and protected, just to get HP back on Florges. And so here I just go for another Wish, I believe. No, I go for Moonblast because I didn't want any substitute shenanigans, and if he was DD, then Moonblast pretty much put it into a position where it was crippled, where this thing is crippled. So he goes into Mega Metagross as I go for another Moonblast. And so I'm being ticked down by Toxic, so I just go into Dusknoir here. As he goes for an Iron Head, which isn't going to 2-hit KO me, so I just go for a Pain Split here, get my health back, and I just go in here and sack Florges. So at this point, I'm down 6-4, and it's looking like he has all the momentum, but this was the exact opportunity I needed to get in my Diggersby for free versus this Mega Metagross. Because like I said, nothing on his team wants to switch in to a Diggersby Earthquake, especially with this team composition. So, I just go for the freest Earthquake of my life. And I just get rid of the Ferrothorn then and there. He brings in Zygarde, knowing that he can set up a sub and then DD on me. So I just bring in Dusknoir. He goes for a substitute. And I just go for an Ice Punch here, and he does reveal to be sub DD, which does show to me that he is, and luckily, I know he's not Groundsy, so I just go for another Ice Punch here in case he went for sub, and I pretty much dented this thing. So I go for Shadow Sneak here, and he knocks out the Dusknoir. And so here, in hindsight, what I should have done, so I bring in Mega Gallade here, knowing that I can tank any one hit from him, but what I should have done in hindsight was go Diggersby and Quick Attack, because if I remember correctly, Quick Attack was a roll in my favor to kill this Zygarde. So, in hindsight, I should have done that, but here we are. So I got Mega Gallade, I Mega Evolve, and I just go for the knockoff, not wanting to risk anything. So he brings in Musharna here as I go into Diggersby, and he goes for the Toxic, which doesn't really matter, because Diggersby comes in here and pretty much, yeah, I click return for free. He sets up the terrain, but it isn't going to matter. Diggersby picks up another kill. I believe that was Diggersby's 5th kill of the season, so I go into Mega Gallade as he goes for the Endure. He goes again for the Endure, and I just go for the knockoff to get rid of his Lychee Berry, which pretty much cripples this thing as he goes for another Endure, and I go for Psycho Cut and knock it out. And so he did tell me after the game that he did have bounce on this, he did have bounce on this Hitmonlee, which is fine because I would have just gone to Kyurem, and I think bounce did like 20% max, and even if he did go ahead and kill the Kyurem on the next turn after that, I could just go into Diggersby and just quick attack it. So I didn't have there weren't really many things I could do in that situation. So Hitmonlee goes down. That was a bit of a misplay on his end. If it mattered, it may have mattered, but I don't know. So here Mega Gallade just goes ahead and sweeps the rest of his team. He brings in Mega Metagross, close combat obliterates it, and then knockoff has a really high roll in my favor to kill the Delphox if he's not Scarfed. He isn't. He is revealed to be AV, and we move past the Belper Beedrills 3-0. Mega Gallade picking up another 4 kills, and Diggersby picking up 2. So at this point, Diggersby is 5-5 in kill to deaths, and Mega Gallade is 17-5, I believe, if not 17-6. Let me just double check that. Yeah, he is 17-5. So that is very nice, very good. So these are the standings after. So these are the Week 11 standings. As we are now moving in closer and closer towards passing out the Venomville Vileplumes and possibly tying or passing out the Houston Heracross, but we will have to see where that goes. Next week we face, so week 12 we face the Motor City Mammoth Swans, who, despite the fact that they are ranked 14th in the league, he's got a pretty formidable team, so I will see you all for next video. Until then, peace out and have yourselves a wonderful day.